Fox News alert, Elon just rescued 2 astronauts that Biden left floating around in space for 9 months. The SpaceX Dragon splashed down in the Gulf of America during the 5.
As you can see there on your screen, continuing to monitor progress of the Dragon spacecraft. And we're going to stand by for splashdown located in the Gulf of America off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
After they hit the Gulf, SpaceX rescue crews motorboated the pod into the mothership, where they popped open the hatch and pulled them out.
SpaceX's go for recovery personnel to approach.
We can see folks on board clapping as our first crew member.
And that is NASA astronaut Nick Hague, commander of Crew 9, now out of Crew Dragon Freedom. Some smiles, thumbs up, and a wave. Can't get any better than that.
When he was first elected, Donald Trump promised to save the forgotten men and women of America, no matter where they were, in the Rust Belt or on the space station. Elon Musk offered to bring these astronauts home months ago. But Joe Biden was too insecure to let Elon, and by extension Trump, be a hero during the election. So Joe let him float.
You're going to help rescue next month 2 astronauts that I think were abandoned. They dispute that in an interview.
At the president's request or instruction, we are accelerating the return of the astronauts, which was postponed kind of to a ridiculous degree.
They got left in space.
They've been there. They were supposed to be there 8 days. They're there almost 300.
Biden.
They were yes, they were left up there for political reasons, which is not good.
This is a unifying moment for the country. Everyone's sitting around the TV watching our people splash down. But some people aren't grateful. They won't give Elon any credit, and they won't even call it the Gulf of America. And they're still covering up for the big guy.
Let me say something. I was watching the previous, your previous program, The 5, and they're talking about abandoned and they were stranded by President Biden. That is not true. They have had a spacecraft up there since September that was going to bring them home. They've always had a ride home, and the decision to keep them up there had nothing to do with politics. It was just the fact that you need crew members to operate the space station. And they were the 2 that were there, and you had to send up a vehicle with 2 empty seats. So the safest thing to do was to just leave them there.
They've always had a ride home. That was Democrat Senator Mark Kelly's brother, by the way. If they always had a ride home, why did it take so long? When I land at the airport, I don't wait around. I get home as fast as I can. Why would I wait for a train that's coming in an hour if I can get an Uber like that? And why are Democrats defending Biden stranding our people in space? For a guy who's always had a ride home, this astronaut sounds pretty grateful. Listen.
We're coming back before long, so, don't make all those plans without me.
I can tell you at the outset, all of us have the utmost respect for Mr. Musk, and obviously respect and admiration for our President of the United States, Donald Trump. We appreciate them. We appreciate all that they do for us, for human spaceflight, for our nation.
Biden let our country get invaded. He allowed men and women's locker rooms, let down kids during COVID, took forever to open up the economy. There was never any urgency. Inflation, it'll go away. There was no fighting this man. He let American hostages wither all over the world. The minute Trump's elected, they're back. This Ukraine war would have gone on forever. Biden never even picked up the phone and called Putin once. Trump spent 2 hours on the phone with Vlad today, and they hashed out a semi-ceasefire. Biden let America die and fell asleep on the beach because he didn't care. You're not going to get all you want all at once, I know, but Biden never even tried. Bringing back astronauts is like what makes us proud. When have you known America to just give up? The Army's credo is no man left behind. And that credo is founded on hard work and ingenuity. And we're applying those principles to saving our country from bankruptcy. Look what Doge uncovered.
I call it magic money computer, any computer which can just make money out of thin air. That's magic money.
So how does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are, but there's some at HHS, some at, there's one or two at State, there's some at DOD. I think we found now 14 magic money computers.
14, okay.
They just send money out of nothing.
Democrats are begging him to use a scalpel while there's magic money machines pumping out billions of dollars. Doge is cleaning up Social Security payrolls. 3 million people over the age of 120 were finally officially declared dead. The VA just Doge taxpayer-funded gender-affirming prosthetics. Not only were they having orgies at the VA, on the clock, at the hospital, they went home with goodie bags. And the Democrats are furious because Musk caught them stealing.
One of the biggest scam fraud holes we've uncovered, which is really crazy, is that the government can give money to a so-called nonprofit with very few controls, and then there's no auditing subsequently of that nonprofit. They then give themselves extremely lavish, like insane salaries, expense everything to the nonprofit. Buy jets and homes and all sorts of things.
Live like kings and queens.
Yes.
On the taxpayer dime.
Correct.
You mentioned...
And this is happening at scale. It's not just one or two. We're seeing this everywhere.
It's so bad that bureaucrats are locking themselves in their office like they're Bruce Willis in Die Hard. One Fed bunkered himself under his desk and called Wolf Blitzer like it was breaking news, saying, Doge has broken into our building. If you think CNN can save you, CNN can't even save themselves. Washington ripped you off and stabbed you in the back. And Schumer says you're the one with an attitude.
They are controlled by a small group of wealthy, greedy people. And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees. They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Schumer's saying you're greedy. And his party just got caught fleecing you to buy strap-ons. We don't want to destroy government. No one's even saying that. We're just saying the same things Democrats, including Schumer, have been saying for decades.
There's tremendous waste in government, and I think any Democrat who ignores the lessons, the lessons of those who voted, the lessons of the last election, makes a mistake. The people did want government to cut out the waste and to shrink.
Chuck's trotting out that old Obama line, you didn't build that. That when Americans work hard and are successful, they owe a lot of that to the government. Anyone who owns a business knows the government gets in the way of business. And if the government got out of the way, just even a little bit, business would be booming. And Elon's business used to be booming, but now the media is calling on Americans to dump his stock and are looking the other way while Trantifa torches Teslas.
But you'll see a Tesla vehicle catch fire momentarily. You'll see the suspect pop up right next to the Tesla vehicle. That individual then appears to be reaching into some kind of bag or backpack, and then he'll walk back and forth from that vehicle that's already on fire to another vehicle. The loud bang that you just heard, we believe, was a gunshot that was fired into one of the Tesla vehicles. In a longer version of the clip, there are 2 gunshots in addition to that are heard. Also point out that we have recovered at least 1 unignited Molotov cocktail located in one of the Tesla vehicles.
This is what the mob does when they get caught. They light your car on fire to send a message. Democrat Senator Mark Kelly, whose brother just made a fool of himself, just sold his Tesla and bought 2 gas guzzlers.
All right, here I am with my new ride, Chevy, good old Chevy Tahoe, here in Washington, D.C. Got one of these in Tucson as well. This one was made by Union Labor, United Auto Workers in Arlington, Texas. Always good to buy Union cars, incredibly reliable. And I'm looking forward to driving this for many, many years.
Democrats are admitting they don't even believe in global warming. Trump just made Democrats admit global warming's a hoax. Musk's cars were supposed to save the planet, and they're lighting them on fire and buying Chevy Tahoes. Democrats aren't interested in saving the country. They're only interested in saving themselves. Trump's saving lives, money, factories, and women, whether they like it or not.
All right, welcome to Hannity. And tonight, in mere moments, Elon Musk will join us live from the Washington swamp. A huge day for Elon Musk, for SpaceX, for President Trump, and for our country. If you were watching all day today, how could you not feel inspired, grateful, so glad that these astronauts lost in space, basically, are now safely back home. Now, the president did ask Elon to go get our stranded astronauts from the International Space Station, and he delivered. He delivered big time. Take a look.
And we're going to stand by for splashdown located in the Gulf of America off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
It really is amazing. I mean, that is incredible. What human ingenuity, engineering, the human spirit on display makes you proud to be an American. Mission accomplished. Just hours ago, the SpaceX Dragon re-entered orbit. It splashed down off the coast of Florida, safely bringing home Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore back to Earth after being trapped at the International Space Station since June of last year. Now, this SpaceX capsule that you see right there on your screen was traveling through space at a whopping 17,000 miles per hour before re-entering orbit and then gently gliding down to the ocean within a minute of their expected landing. Coming up, we're going to have plenty of politics surrounding the increasingly radical Democratic Party and Chuck Schumer's disastrous media appearances today. It was bad, as he officially now is on the chopping block and is fighting for his political life, along with a full rundown of the newly released JFK files. But first, for a moment, can we just put aside all partisanship for a second? I don't know if some people, if they're capable of it, if you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. Just take in this moment. How remarkable this is, this moment of time, what we're witnessing, history in the making, right here, the United States of America. On Friday, the SpaceX Falcon 9 propelled its Dragon space capsule and crew into space. It's amazing. I mean, that in and of itself, what you're watching on your screen, is such risk-taking at the highest level. And a few minutes later, the first stage booster, remember, performed a separation and a flip maneuver and then touch back down precisely at the landing zone 1. Look at this touchdown. It's incredible. Right where it was supposed to. The Dragon then separated from Falcon 9's second stage and was piloted to the International Space Station, where docking happened successfully. Now, keep in mind, this was one of 3 Falcon 9 missions in less than 24 hours. In addition to this rescue mission, the Falcon 9 also delivered 74 rideshare payloads into orbit, added 23 Starlink satellites to the constellation, and on March 16th, the Dragon successfully docked at the space station, and 2 days later, it successfully departed, ultimately returning our 2 stranded astronauts back to Earth on time to the minute. This was a safe return. But after 9 months in space, both astronauts will have their fair share of health challenges. Now, according to NASA, for example, bones lose 1% of their density for every single month in space. Muscle atrophy can pose a huge problem. They have to exercise every day in space, and they exercise for 2 hours a day. The eyes, the brain structure also change in space due to the lack of gravity. This can cause blurry vision and other serious problems. There's also a variety of skin conditions that astronauts experience as they reacclimate to Earth. That's not an easy acclimation. Now, tonight we all wish both astronauts a speedy recovery and good health. We are also extremely grateful to Elon Musk, the team at SpaceX, for getting them home safe and sound, for President Trump to giving the okay for this mission to go forward. Unfortunately, so many on the left, they are not grateful. They are not thankful in any way, shape, manner, or form. Simply, they loathe Elon Musk now more than ever. This is a guy that rescues astronauts that were trapped in space. They were only supposed to be there 8 days. They were there for 286 days. He sends life-saving communications via Starlink to North Carolina and Tennessee after Hurricane Helene. He sent them to California after the California wildfires. He sent them to Ukraine after they were invaded. This is a guy working on the cutting edge of technology to advance the human condition, improve life, including one of the things I'm most fascinated in, and that's Neuralink, using AI technology and the human brain, which hopefully one day we will be able to restore vision to the blind and movement to people that have been paralyzed. But now, because he's supporting President Trump and he's working to make government more efficient and eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse, this is the thanks he gets from the left. Elon Musk experienced death threat after death threat, Hitler comparison after Hitler comparison, acts of domestic terrorism at his dealerships and at his charging stations. You have Teslas lit ablaze, Molotov cocktails thrown at Tesla dealerships, Tesla stations burned to the ground, shots fired into Tesla showrooms, one in Oregon. Early this morning in Las Vegas, another attack. A suspect armed with a gun fired shots into a Tesla collision center while also lighting multiple vehicles on fire and spray painting the word resist on the front of that building. This is not a protest. This is not a simple act of vandalism for those idiots at MSDNC. As Elon Musk posted himself on X, quote, "This level of violence is insane. It is deeply wrong. Tesla just makes electric cars. They have done nothing to deserve these evil attacks." Let's be clear. What we're witnessing is terrorism, plain and simple, domestic terrorism. These left-wing lunatics are committing these acts of violence to intimidate Elon Musk, to intimidate Tesla owners, and anyone that dares to disagree with their twisted worldview. That is the very definition of terrorism. And now Attorney General Pam Bondi will be investigating and trying these perpetrators as domestic terrorists. And like most terrorists, I think that we're going to find that they're not very smart. We did have one suspect in South Carolina allegedly trying to burn down a Tesla charging station with a Molotov cocktail and accidentally set himself on fire in the process. He's now facing a 20-year jail sentence in a federal prison. This kind of violence is unacceptable in the United States of America, but for the radical left, it's all just a means to an end. But that won't deter President Trump. It's not deterring Elon Musk, and today is proof that all of their hard work is paying off. Now, we'll check in with Elon Musk in a minute, but think about this. You know, for all the talk about January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, okay, all the talk about that, what about the 574 riots that took place in the summer of 2020, where we had 24 dead Americans, we had cops pelted with bricks, rocks, bottles, Molotov cocktails, we had billions of dollars in property damage, and why didn't Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney have a committee looking into that violence? Why did the preferred candidate of the left go on Colbert and say, those rioters aren't going to stop, they shouldn't stop, and we're not going to stop supporting them? And why did the media lie and say, oh, they're mostly peaceful, when a city or a town is burning over their shoulder?
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, that's what you call fans, Jesse. Good evening, everyone. As President Trump threatens massive tariffs on alcohol from the EU, consumers are loading up on booze. In a related story, guess who just rented a tractor trailer? According to Trump, Hunter Biden had 18 Secret Service agents paid for by U.S. taxpayers, all for his protection. Wow, who knew you needed 18 Secret Service agents to put on a condom? The U.S. postal worker funded a lavish lifestyle at strip clubs by stealing $1.6 million in checks from the mail. He first aroused suspicion when he tipped a stripper by stuffing a Pottery Barn catalog into her G-string. CBS News is now complaining that those Venezuelan gang members were deported under the Alien Enemies Act, even though it's, quote, a centuries-old law. What's wrong with centuries old? Asked one woman. Don Lemon said he was sexually harassed by a female coworker at CNN who even tweaked his nipples. I believe we have a picture of the harasser. Doesn't fool me. According to new reports, the Mexican cartels are smuggling drugs into the U.S. inside cattle. I don't know about you, but I feel bad for the guy who actually has to put the drugs inside those cows. A CNN poll found only 29% of Americans view Democrats in a favorable light. 54% viewed them in an unfavorable light, and 100% prefer to view Rashida Tlaib in no light. A convicted fentanyl dealer was seen crying as she was nabbed by ICE. She was especially upset when she found out that ICE wasn't followed by the word cream. Because she's fat. And finally, in Germany, a parade of nearly 900 Datsuns set a new world record. Guinness Book said they hadn't seen that many wieners in one place since Don Lemon's bachelor party. I guess there's the start. We're going to talk about the space, the wonderful space achievement later in the show. But let's do a monologue. Excuse me. It's official. The Democratic Party's popularity is deeper in the toilet than a bulimic's breakfast.
Oof, Jesus. My God.
They haven't been this despised since they forced brown people from other countries to do their labor, which they still do, except now they call them landscapers. According to a new CNN poll, and this is CNN, mind you, the Democrat Party's favorability among the American public is 29%. 29%. That's shocking. But even more shocking, CNN can still afford a pollster. Even among Dems and independents, their favorable view of Democrats right now is down 9% since January, which is a pretty mild drop, given the Dems are for absolutely nothing good while defending everything bad. So all they can do is cry, scream, sing, and smear people. Frankly, I am so tired of the way they use the N-word.
What?
Nazi this, Nazi that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Nazi on signs, Nazi spray painted on businesses. If they keep normalizing that horrible word, people are going to start greeting each other on the street with, "What up, my Nazi?"
Nothing. Oh, he said Nazi. Oh. Not me.
And yet, a majority of Democrats say their congressmen should oppose Trump no matter what, even if it keeps them from getting the things they claim they want. I think that's called cutting off your nose to spite your face, or what Pelosi's plastic surgeon calls the number 6. No wonder they're less popular than Leah Thomas at a gynecologist.
Oh, God.
Let's run through their greatest hits. They defended dudes in girls' locker rooms. They defended the brainwashing and butchery of kids. They condemned the deportation of rapists and thugs from other countries. They condemned the ending of government waste, fraud, and abuse. That's just 4 things off the top of my head, and you wonder why the Democrats aren't more popular? Compare that to the sickening things Trump has done in the last month. Close the border, that's terrible. Deporting rapists and thugs, awful. Rescuing astronauts, repulsive. Creating a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, fascist. Getting hostages back from Hamas, appalling. Truly, this guy sucks. If you're the bad guy. Now, disagreement is normal among opposing parties, but the Dems only complain about the things Trump might do, while Trump and the rest of us point out what the Dems have already done. Dems call Trump a threat to democracy. Great, fine. But where is this magical threat to democracy that you speak of? Meanwhile, everything the Dems do is seen by every single American. The murders and rapes by illegal thugs, sanctuary cities turning hotels into criminal clubhouses, the Hamas support on campuses, the no-cash bail that heightened criminal recidivism, mass looting in stores after reducing severity of punishment. None of this is defined as what the Democrats might do. It's what the Democrats did. It's why you have to fight them on every issue, because if they get their way, Americans get hurt. But if Trump has his way, oddly, it's what Americans want. But some Dems are too stupid to know any better. Ooh. Don Lemon went on... Thank you. It's how you use a swear word. Don Lemon went on Bill Maher's podcast and gave the Dems some advice that only he could give.
People love AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell. And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with are.
No.
Yeah, I didn't know homeless people partied.
Yes, they do. Yes,
Even Bill Maher isn't high enough to believe that. Meanwhile, one Democrat is making some sense. I wonder, does Massachusetts Rep. Seth Moulton think the Democrats have become a party of people who preach down to others?
We've become a party of people who preach down to others, who scold them, who say, if you don't agree with me, you're not only wrong, but you're a bad person.
Oh, that sounds so good. It's weird, though. Isn't there another Seth Moulton who said, not only is Trump racist, he's a threat to our national security? We must have two Seth Moultons, one saying one thing and one saying the other. They're both dorks. But hey, does he think they need to stop preaching and start listening?
I think we need to stop preaching and start listening. Start meeting Americans where they are.
I agree, Seth. Now tell that to the other Seth Moulton who said Donald Trump is a racist and a criminal. I wonder, can you be a majority party if you don't accept a majority of views?
You can't be a majority party if you don't accept a majority of views.
Well, Seth, I hate to break it to you. The majority view is that the Democrats suck. So how do you solve a problem when you are the problem? You're like a guy getting dumped who says, but I can change, but it's too late. You should have changed when you saw the harm you were causing and not waited until you lost. Because now America's started seeing other people, and they aren't bad crazy. Let's welcome tonight's guest! His kids watch the Menendez Brothers show for ideas. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. His online trolling keeps fans scrolling. Host of the great You're Welcome podcast, author of The White Pill, Michael Mallett. She's easy on the eyes and murder on the ears. Co-host of Outnumbered, Emily Campagno. And finally, he's like a chairlift. Old ladies love to go up and down on him. New York Times best-selling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, Tyrus. Jamie, a nice question for you. Does the Democrats' favorability plummeting remind you of how your awful marriage imploded and your terrible career falling apart and your non-existent relationship with your kids?
That is, it did. That is a lot. That is a lot all at once. Yeah, that space landing actually reminded me of my career. I go, hey, that's the trajectory right there. The approval rating, I honestly don't think it's that bad. It's 29%, which is exactly 29% higher than my approval rating in my marriage. And but they just asked one bitch what she thought. But can I just take a moment and just, Don Lemon, can we just...
Yes.
Can we be done with Don Lemon? My dad used to always tell me, he's like, when life gives you lemon, you change the channel. That guy sucks. Why are we still, I appreciate Mar having a mom, but it's like he went from being on TV, right, being an anchor, to sort of being a co-anchor, to then being on a podcast. I believe the next step is just speaking loudly on the subway.
Yes.
That's what he will do next. I feel like the lemon law, like the lemon law, like cars. I feel like the lemon law should apply to Don Lemon. You know what I mean? Like it looks good at first, and you go home and you go, "This thing's a piece of."
Yeah, you don't want to get inside it because it could be dangerous. People be rear-ending you left and right.
Hey, there's a couple other guys in here.
Michael Malice, finally you're back. Good to see you.
Thanks so much, Greg.
Yes. Do you believe that the demise of the Democrats is premature? Am I jumping the gun here?
This isn't even the first. I'm sorry to be the guy who's going to ruin the party, but I'm going to be the guy who ruins the party. This isn't even the first quarter of Trump's presidency. The Democratic Party is the oldest political party on earth, and you don't last that long unless you're doing something right. And what they know how to do is to seize and maintain power. This is a temporary thing. A lot of things Trump are doing are great, but it's only going to be a matter of time till they regroup and put someone forward who's going to do something smarter for them. They have the universities, they have the corporate press. This idea that you only, air quotes, have 217 House seats and you're done is just crazy to me.
You know, I like that you say that because you don't want to get cocky and you don't want, everybody says they're finished and then they regroup like the Terminator and Terminator 2.
You know who said they were finished?
Who?
In 1996, Rush Limbaugh's second book came out, and he said, this is the death knell of liberalism. We're seeing the end of the Democratic Party. And then you had, 12 years later, Obama with supermajorities in both houses. They're very, very smart. And here's the thing I think conservatives don't appreciate. They will throw whoever they need to under the bus as long as it serves them power. In 2004, when John Kerry was running against George Bush for a second term, do you know what Bill Clinton told him to do? Run against gay marriage.
Yes.
So they don't care about any single group, and you see this in Britain, where the party is called Labour, and as soon as people who are in unions start voting for the Tories, they're called Nazis, white supremacists, and all these other things. So they're very dangerous, and again, they're the consequence of the universities and the media. So even if you're having a hold in D.C., you're still worrying about Cambridge and all these, New Haven, and all these other places.
You are such an adorable wet blanket.
But you know what? There's a fire, and someone should be putting out this wet blanket instead of sitting around and thinking it's a birthday cake.
No, you're absolutely right, even though it was very mean-spirited. Emily, I guess the Dems are saying you should fight Trump harder. That's their solution. You got to fight him harder. It seems to me that they'd rather do that than actually come up with solutions for various issues.
Well, that's the whole thing. And I think the Seth Moulton clip really lays out exactly the hypocrisy, where if they say things are existential, if climate change is existential, if President Trump is existential to this country, then why would they flip? For example, let's take Senator Mark Kelly. We talked about him last night, right? If climate change was so important that he had to drive that electric car, then why then would he go to diesel? The whole point is they exchange their values that they had in the moment for the resistance because they hate Trump more than they were committed to any value to begin with. When you talk about the age of the Democrat Party, too, that just terrifies me because I think about the Volturi and the Illuminati and all of these things that essentially have been so baked into the fabric of our earth and beyond that there's no way they're going to. This is a temporary death. And the resurrection is what might be more frightening. So I think right now, to your point, we are absolutely crowing because for once, power has been restored to the hands of the American people. But you're right that the level of fear and hatred and scorn coming out of the left now, especially since it's at the hands of who they deem to be traitors, people like Tulsi Gabbard and Elon Musk and even President Trump, who used to be Democrats. What are they going to do now? They're going to rise bigger and better and badder and more frightening. But that's why this dismantling chapter is so important. We have to make it so permanent, so indestructible that they can't surmount that. But I'm not sure how to do that quite yet.
All right. Well, thank you, Emily, for that very powerful. What up, my Nazi?
I don't know. You tell me, my.
That's our word.
Waiting his whole white life for that.
Wow.
I don't even have a question.
The Democratic Party's not going anywhere because we only have two options.
Yeah.
So even doesn't matter We've been around forever. Yeah, because both parties do a good job of keeping a third party out.
Right.
So you won't see any. So what they do is every once in a while they change their face. So Democratic Party was overtaken by activists and wannabe terrorists. Because it's funny because and this is the difference between the two parties. When Republicans are losing and being attacked, i.e. when Facebook was taking everything you say, your rights away, when if you said the wrong thing, you lost your job, there was no reports of any of Facebook's buildings being burnt down or their windows being smashed in or any of his various businesses being attacked because that's not how we do things. We typically, with extreme cases, we believe in the Constitution and we'll protest or whatever. Even in that, we're busy because we work. That we work jobs and we have investments and we want to own property and we were chasing the American dream. So there's not a lot from the right in terms of attacking, whereas the left, they count on the people that they keep down, that they convince that it's coming. And the reason why is not because we're screwing you over, because all they really care about is being reelected.
Right.
That's all it's about. So they continue to give scraps to the group that will do their bidding. Every one of those people that are going out and burning the Telsas and all that stuff, they think they're martyrs. They think they're heroes because of the messaging. But yet when they get arrested, there's no one in the Democratic Party that's going to, there'll be some pundits on TV that'll say, oh, they want to talk about it, but they're not going to save them. They don't mind sacrificing a few lambs for the overall good. That's when it comes down to one group can control all this. It's the American people. Don't vote for somebody who supports people who blow buildings up and attack when things don't go their way. It should be very basic.
Amen. All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.